I was there the last 9 months, and then we did the movie. And then I remember the show was over. It had been canceled. It was just, and so we were going to have a wrap party. Well, now remember, this is the early 70s, and I had just gotten to New York, and I was real hip, and I could, yeah, let's sit around and rap sometime, and all that. So I thought we were having a party where we were going to all sit around and talk. We're just going to all rap together. And so it was really a surprise when I walked into the studio, and it was a big, like a fancy ballroom with cocktails and all sorts of other stuff, the rap party. I think we all hated to see that happen, but it was, it made you go on and want to do other things that were lots of fun too. It was great for me, straight out of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, because if you can't suspend your disbelief, you can't do Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows was my first job, and I thank Dan Curtis, and I've called him Chief all these years, so I hope I get to see him again sometime and call him Chief again. Yeah, he's the one, Dan's the man. I think I auditioned for the role of Daphne, and I remember I opened the door, and I had taken a deep breath because I was going to open the door and walk in, take a big step and walk in. I wasn't going to be real, because it was one of the first times that I had ever been ever been asked to even come and read something. So I opened the door and walked in, and there was the room was filled with mirrors, and so one long row of people looked like 40, so it's pretty scary. But I read that day, and then I had a camera test, I guess 2 days later, and I was lucky enough to get the part. And then I didn't speak for about 5 weeks because I was a ghost, and I beckoned, which was great, because then I could sort of learn how to do things, how things were done there. Live on tape was something different from what live on tape is now. We were in New York, and we got the tape. We got the feed or whatever it was. And if we blew it, and for some reason had to stop tape, which was like the thing you did not want to do, then we'd have to wait for hours to get the feed again. It wasn't like you could just stop it like a video camera and start over again. And yeah, it made it pretty exciting. And I remember Jim Storm and I had a scene once. It was supposed to be in a restaurant, and I don't know what it was. And he had, it was a heavy scene. We were talking about something, and then I realized that he wasn't saying what he was supposed to be saying. Then I realized that he was just going, "Oh, forget it, just stop the tape, I can't do this." It was funny. Another time I hit him on the head with a breakaway vase, popped him on the noggin, and I looked, and that look in his eyes was like he was knocked out stone cold. He fell to the floor. I stepped over him and walked out of the room. They went to commercial. He was just out. It was fun. It was fun bustling around. In fact, I think it's easier than it seems to me. The soaps are so complicated now, and they try to do more interesting things with the camera and stuff. And I've heard that they're really being under the gun now. We still had fun on Dark Shadows. I remember that it always, I think we had lunch at 10 a.m., which was, lunch at 10 a.m. It was a break you had to give the crew, I guess. And during lunch, we were supposed to have our lunch and our makeup done, hair and makeup. So it gave you that real feeling of, got to get out there and do it. Got to put on a show, kids. When we went back in time, and Laura Parker and I were sisters, I think, in that one. And I had a line that afterwards I took out of the yellow teleprompter. And it was just a simple line, but it was, "Everything Ezra told you is true." And I've never forgotten it, and I believe it now. I didn't know, but I certainly did begin to really appreciate it, because I realized that it was so wonderful to go right from the American Academy into Dark Shadows, where you right away got to use all the tools and techniques that you had been studying. I mean, honest to goodness, to suspend your disbelief and be an actor in some of the circumstances that we were put into to play a character who was within real circumstances for that character, maybe not for anybody else in the universe, but I thought it was just a wonderful learning tool. I was always aware that it was probably going to be one of the best ways to start out, although at the time it seemed so hard. But you know, when you do finally get into that and your concentration is really working, and you do get the humanity of the person that you're playing, who's like, who knows what they are, you know. It was a great next step after acting school for me. I'm really glad I had it. I'm glad I didn't go into a serious soap that, you know, and get complacent and stay in it 20 years instead of coming to California and continuing to study and all that. Well, it was a real thrill to go right from the series into the movie, which was the second one. It was called Night of Dark Shadows. It was beautiful up where we were shooting, and I got to ride a horse and do all sorts of great things that, you know, be outdoors all day, and I learned the meaning of the honey wagon. I couldn't believe it. Do you know what a honey wagon is? Do you know what a honey wagon is? There's this long tractor trailer like truck that pulls up in the morning with lots of little doors in it, and there's some bathrooms and some tiny little I don't think any of us had a room, but we could go to use the bathroom in the honey wagon. So I really felt Hollywood when I knew what a honey wagon was.